Okay, so I finally got some time to make a little bit more content. And, sometimes I will brainstorm as far as what do I want to introduce to the channel. I have a notebook over here, and there's a section that says content creation, and I write down all of these different ideas. And I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that. But then, I'm looking in the mirror at myself. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you talk about the one thing that gets your attention every single day that somebody out there, whether you are a man or a woman, can relate to? And that topic, folks, is the salt and pepper in our hair that we develop over time. Now, maybe you can tell, maybe you can't. I would probably give myself about another 5 to 8 years before all of this is pretty much white. So I can remember back in the day, maybe about 27, 28 years old, when my beard just really started getting full and I had no whites in my hair whatsoever, just solid black, just dark, dark, dark. And the moment I started to see some remnants of some gray strands here and there, when I turned about 30, 31 years old, it wasn't really that big of a deal to me. But when I hit about 35, it started coming a little bit more apparent, and I wanted to cover it up. So, of course, I would get what is that stuff, Just for Men. I would, you know, do that, and it would last for maybe about close to a month or so. But even if you do get it really good, after a couple of days and a week or so, you can still kind of see it come back in, that new growth at the root and the tip of it come back, and you have to do it all over again. So um, I can't utilize Just for Men anymore. For some reason, they changed the formula in it, and it breaks me out. I'm allergic to one of the active ingredients in it. I actually had to go to the urgent care a couple of years ago due to some of that stuff in those active ingredients. So ever since then, I have not dyed my beard anymore. That was like 2022, and we've just embracing the salt and pepper look ever since then. Now, what I want to talk about in this video is how challenging that is. As a man, how challenging that is for me. Now, I am 39. I'll be 40 at the end of the year. And it's dawning on me that you're not in your 20s anymore. You are not super young anymore. However, the more that I talk to individuals that are older than I am, like in their 50s and their 60s, they still are so quick to remind me, like, you are literally just getting started, like you were coming into your peak as you get ready to cross over into 40. Like my father, for instance, is 63, and he's like, yeah, my son's about to turn 40, and he's still young. And I'm like, man, you guys still look at us like we're kids, like we're still young. And what that tells me is that, just some salt and pepper and some whites here and there really don't mean anything at all. There are people who actually go premature with their salt and pepper. I've known people to have gray in their hair at 19 years old, 21 years old. Like, it just really depends. But like for me, the salt and pepper really didn't start making its way into my life fully until about 36 years old, 35, 36 years old. So, but since I started not dyeing it, I have these days. I got my days to where I'm okay. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. It's just another day in the neighborhood. But then I have those time periods where I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't like, I don't want to look old, and even though 39 years old is not old, and even though your hair isn't an indication of age, that's just the picture that society has drew. Like, if you have white hair or salt and pepper, you must be old, and X, Y, and Z, when in actuality, that's really not, it's not true. Um, Sometimes I'll look at other guys' beards and, it just looks a little bit too full, a little bit too dark for fellas that are like between 37 and 45 years old. I talked to a guy about 2 weeks ago in the gym who I know for sure is older, way older than me. He's got to be at least 52, 53 years old. And this brother's beard is like dark, is like just black. And we got to talking and going back and forth. And he just admitted it. He was like, "Yeah, this is just for men." I was like, "I know it's just for men. It's got to be just for men." Because he's like, "I got more white in my beard than you." I'm like, "Yeah, you should, because you're way older than I am." But to each his own. So he dyes his beard because he likes the consistency of it. And I guess he's not allergic to the active ingredient that is in the hair dye and whatnot. So, but the purpose of this video is to help you all out there understand that you are not the color of your hair. If you are having the salt and pepper come into your life right now, I want to encourage you to embrace it. Truthfully, we've gotten to this point in society to where aging, they try to make aging out to be such a bad thing, and like it's taboo, and you're past your prime and you're no good, when that's not true at all. Um, you can't stay young forever. Like, that's all I see on social media is individuals making fun of people who don't look the way that they did at 20 years old and 25 years old. Like, people would pass away prematurely if that was the case. Like, there's two different ways of aging. Like, you can age gracefully, not drinking a lot of alcohol, protecting your liver, eating healthy, exercising, drinking water, taking vitamins and supplements and all different type of things, herbs, keeping your digestive system on point. All of these things play a big factor when it comes to your age, how you look, the elasticity of your skin. And then there's the other way of aging to where you look like you had a hard life. And I'm definitely not trying to go down that pathway of looking like I had a hard life. But one of my biggest indicators of embracing the salt and pepper look really is my wife. You know, she likes it. Honestly, she doesn't even really care. Whether it's dark or whether it looks the way what looks like this. She doesn't bother her. But she really more so is on the side of me just being who I am and just being natural, and not giving myself an allergic reaction just for the sake of trying to look young. I got a question for some guys out there. Like, maybe you dye your beard. I don't know. And if you do dye your beard or your hair, or ladies, you as well, like, do you do it to have a youthful appearance? Are you trying to appear young in front of other people? Or maybe is it the consistency of, the hair? Because I know that when my beard started changing, it was very weird. Like, this part right here was like there, but there was really nothing going on over here, and there was a little bit here. But now it's starting to get a little bit more consistent, which is giving me a little bit more confidence. Like, okay, at least it makes sense now. There's not a little bit here, and then there's nothing here and something here, like real patchy. I wholeheartedly understand why somebody would want to dye their hair if that was the way that it looked. And then when it starts to get a more consistent a pattern, then maybe just kind of let it do its course. Like, I have a lot more here, right up in there. So, and that, it doesn't bother me. Like, it truly, truly doesn't bother me. Over the course of my life, I've just had to deal with just the different phases of changes with just my appearance. I lost my hair at 25. Uh, Beard started turning salt and pepper between 32 and 36. And it is what it is. I'm just here to let everybody know that aging is a beautiful thing, and you don't have to hide, what it is. That's natural, because the thing is, when you dye it, you got to keep doing it over and over and over. It says to be consistent. It just has to always be something that you're willing to sacrifice and something that you're willing to do just to keep a certain appearance. Now, I'm not discouraging anybody out there. If you want to do it, be my guest. If you want to embrace it, which is more so of the side that I'm on, then, I'm all for it. Even my wife, she just turned 41 last week. And even though she has a very youthful appearance, like she definitely does not look her age. She looks like she could be anywhere between 28 and 30 years old. But, she's starting to get some grays in the top here, and she dyed her hair about a month or so ago just to, keep the consistency, but it's starting to come back again. And I told her, like, just let it go. Like, who cares? We're living life for us. We're not here to impress anybody. We're not here to, just make it seem like we're something that we're really not. And one thing that I've learned is that when you have that salt and pepper look, it just commands respect from other people. When people see it, like their demeanor changes, how they act, how they treat you, how they talk to you, all of these different type of things change, once people see that this person right here has some years on me. Maybe I should listen to what they have to say. Maybe they have a little bit more wisdom and insight that I could utilize in my life. And they're not trying to hide it either, because they're embracing the aging process. But you know, is that to say that I'll never dye my beard? I'm not saying that I won't, but at the same time, I personally think that I would rather shave my face completely. Maybe like when I get to about 50-ish years old, maybe, because I know around that time it's probably going to be just snow white. And that part, I don't know if I'm ready for or not. I'll just shave my beard at that point until I'm ready for it. And it's okay if you're not ready for it. Some of you, again, have gotten that premature salt and pepper look, and some of your hair is white. And if you're not ready to embrace it, it's okay. As time goes on, just know that it's never going to change back to its original color. And it is a beautiful indication that, your life, you're living, you're alive, you are prospering, and you are a wealth of wisdom and knowledge. And your hair is a representation of that, So I think that at some point when we get to a certain age, we really just stop being concerned about it. And if you don't care about what other people think, and that's not something that bothers you, then I don't really, unless it's a personal preference, I don't see the point in putting chemicals in your head and on your face and stuff like that, because your skin is the biggest organ in your body. So we have to be mindful about, how we treat it. But if you were somebody out there who has the salt and pepper look and you are rocking it, comment down below. When did you come to terms with it, and how you accepted it? And if you're somebody out there who chooses to dye your hair, I would like to know, like, what makes you want to dye your hair? Like, what is it? Like, let's talk about it. I'm trying to get a conversation going here, trying to get some conversing going back and forth, just some healthy, mature conversation among adults. All right, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed this little talk, this video. All I want you to do is give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe to this channel. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.